the human manifestation of Christ, the salvation for some, a stumbling rock for others.
In the not-too-distant future, the world will single out religious beliefs as one of the worst plagues ever to afflict humanity. Religion is the promoter of all kinds of deceit and deviations, which has presented us with a mystical and unreal Christ, and a concept of God the Father that is completely distant from the principles of reality. For this reason, to this day, there are millions of confused people around the world waiting to see an entirely fictitious Christ. This is an extremely delicate matter because religions are playing with the faith of devout believers who see their hopes of having an encounter with Christ here in this life gradually fade as the years go by. In addition to this, due to that wrong vision they have about the coming of Christ, when this event takes place, they run the risk of rejecting the true Christ because they are not capable of recognizing her as the Messiah. Since they have a different vision of how their encounter with Christ should be, and this has already happened because Christ did arrive in these latter days, just not in the way they imagined the coming of Christ would be. She is here in our midst. Her name is Lisbeth. She is the Christ and the wife of God, the Father Melchizedek, who presented men with his bread and wine of heaven when he came out to meet them with his Christ. Through her, he opened the windows of heaven to them and poured upon them his richest blessing, the abundant wealth of his wisdom, the Word made flesh, Christ Lisbeth, when the men of God's people put God to the test in bringing their tithes to the treasury of his temple, to his Christ. This is how the world would know that they have robbed God, when he was present in these latter days with his Christ, since God never instructed mortal men to collect the tithes that belong to God alone. If it had been God who had actually asked those men to collect tithes for him, they would not dare to steal those funds that belong to God, as they have done, and much less would they engage in corrupt practices like the ones carried out in the so-called churches. Amen. To be continued.